Hello.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Santos. I'm one of the co-curators of Refiguring the Future, and I'm a 5'1" human being. I am wearing a blue sweatshirt that says hashtag take care of Muslim, Black, women, queer, Latinx, Native, immigrant, POC, trans, disabled, LGBTQ+, low-income, activist, refugee, undocumented, incarcerated, friends, family, and community, along with jeans and fly-ass Nike Cortez.
I'm Dewey-Hagborg. I'm a co-founder of Refresh, co-curator of the exhibition Refiguring the Future. I'm about 5.5 feet tall, I have some kind of dirty blonde hair, it's short, and I'm wearing a black shirt, jeans, and burgundy socks. So Refresh, the origin story. In around 2015, I received an honorable mention from a media arts festival that's pretty well renowned called Ars Electronica. And I was very proud to receive this award. And then I went on the website and I started looking around to see who else had won this award, in particular who had won the top prize, the grand prize, which is called the Golden Nika. And what I noticed was that it was all men. Oops. We have two different clickers going on here, so please bear with us. And I started digging through those archives, and I noticed that year after year, decade after decade, the same had taken place. The prize, a headless female form cast in gold, is widely considered as the top honor in our field. And so looking at these top prize winners over really 30 years, over 100 prizes given, we saw that more than 90% had been awarded to men. And in some categories, women had never won, not once in 30 years. And so our response was to say very publicly, kiss my arse. This became a social media campaign over 2 years. We ended up writing an article in The Guardian. It was shared widely, got a lot of attention, and Ars Electronica never responded. And so after 2 years of calling attention to the problem, we felt it was time to take proactive action and try to put out a different vision. And this is where Refresh was born. So I started pulling together folks that had been supportive of the social media campaign, people who had been retweeting, who had been sharing this information, and pulling them in and saying, what should we do next? What can we do? What can we do to address this problem as a concrete action? And one of those supporters was Dorothy Santos.
So in a parallel universe, I was really frustrated with the expectations that I would perform as a queer Filipina when one of my primary concerns was thinking about how could I write and curate, even make work about artists and other artists and artistic practices that critiqued Western medicine and scientific methodologies. And that's kind of what led to my interest and just dedication and devotion to the Refresh Collective, but also the Kiss My Ars campaign.
So Refresh is an international and politically engaged collective platform across the disciplines of art, science, and technology. And as a collective, we begin with inclusion as a starting point for pursuing artistic and sustainable curatorial practices.
Refresh breaks down systemic cultural and economic oppression. It offers validation and visibility to populations that have been historically underrepresented in these disciplines, including women, transgender and cisgender, people of color, queer, non-binary, gender non-conforming, and disabled artists from around the globe.
And we do this because we sincerely believe that this is where the most exciting new ideas and work are being generated, because the status quo is failing us and we desperately need new perspectives. So who is Refresh? These are some of our wonderful colleagues.
Yep.
Salome Esega,
Heather Dewey-Hagborg,
Kathy High,
Lynn Hirschman-Leeson,
Tiare Ribo,
Dr. Camilla Rusvik,
Dorothy R. Santos,
and Addie Wagenek.
So as we were saying, we begin with inclusion as a starting point. So we saw that the voices and the intergenerational practices of women, women of color, queer, trans, and disabled artists were vastly underrepresented in the field, in the intersection of art, science, and technology. And we thought, let's invert this dynamic. So as our starting point, we turn that around. Oops.
So let's break this down a little bit. And Heather actually encouraged me to say this joke that she really absolutely loves. So I'll explain the difference between diversity and inclusion, right? So diversity is inviting everyone to the table. That's kind of like my Filipino immigrant family saying, yeah, just bring everyone. And inclusion is actually knowing your guest. I was vegetarian for a long time, and my family thinks that pork is like a leafy green. And so, like, I'm serious, that's kind of the best way to describe the difference between diversity and inclusion is, do you know your guest? And to be clear, refresh is not a solution. We're not trying to work towards something, you know, to be solutionist, but to make things better. It's about, you know, refiguring the future, but also taking action. That's how you actually can do all of that. It is necessary to subvert, but it's about presenting different voices and setting a different baseline. This entire process has been about growing, learning, and understanding the meaning of inclusion.
So Refiguring the Future is our inaugural exhibition and conference happening here this weekend, and we ask participants to engage in the conversation of what it means to refigure the future. It starts from the premise that our ideas of the future are tired and need refreshing. Refiguring is inspired by our participating exhibiting artist Morrishan Aliyari's work, repurposing tools of digital colonialism and using them as probes and generative mechanisms for creating new futures, reimaginings, and re-renderings of history. To refigure is to hack, to take apart problematic structures and assemble the debris into something other.
We're not merely stating and then restating these problems that we see, but we're pulling apart various realms of thought and practices such as punk, biohacking, do-it-yourself culture, with the aims to take things apart and build something less oppressive, fumbling towards a progressive vision, a liberatory future, a future with possibilities.
So after 2.5 years of hard work, last night we had the grand opening of our exhibition. And we just wanted to share, in case you haven't been there yet, get you excited and share a few images to interest you in stopping by.
It's in her interior, Shanae Holloway, Misha and Abe's work, Lee Blaylock, Sonia Rappaport. So let's return to the work and what it meant to us to be a collective. Being a part of this collective has meant sitting through uncomfortable conversations to challenge not only oppressive systems but ourselves, and in relationship to our ideas of accessibility and inclusion. It means working alongside one another with trust and honesty, engaging in communication that is direct and generative as opposed to destructive and stifling. Like any relationship, collective work takes time to build, and like a lot of cultural and political change, it takes intellectual and emotional stamina and endurance.
After joining forces and defining our kind of curatorial vision for refiguring the future, we started shopping our vision around and asking everyone we could think of for support, for funding, for venues. And for more than a year, we made very little headway. And it was very difficult getting through those times. And I can just say that what pulled me through, and I believe what pulled us through that, was the support of the collective. We were close to giving up when we received this opportunity to work with Eyebeam, funded by the Knit Game Partnership. And then, with big thanks to Sally Schved and Sarah Watson, the opportunity to exhibit at Hunter. And it was this special combination of institutions coming together and taking this risk to support our vision of a different kind of work that all of this became possible. And so we have really immense gratitude for our partner institutions. Big thanks to Hunter College Art Galleries, to Eyebeam.
We also want to thank the NetGain partners, MacArthur Foundation and Open Society, for their generous support in helping us realize Refiguring the Future. And oh my God.
And we
yes.
wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for the epic coordination and incredibly hard work of our curatorial fellow, Lola Martinez, of our Refresh Collective member, Mandek Mohammed.
Yeah, because what you're about to experience this weekend, you're never going to experience again. Just maybe. Well, okay. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Just
Thank you
for your work.
Thank you
so much. Oh, we're not done. Not yet.
So, finally, we want to end our introduction here today by inviting everyone in this room not just to sit there, but to take action.
We hope that by bringing everyone together, this incredible group of artists, thinkers, the collective, the exhibiting artists, conference participants, and all of you, that we all become allies.
Exactly. We don't necessarily expect you all to become best friends,
That'd be
but
nice,
we
though.
do hope that you become allies.
With that, go ahead. Would you like to introduce? With that, we'd like to invite the collective up on stage.
Come on down.
And thank everyone. Tiare, Mandek, Salome, Kathy. Yay.